We are so thrilled we were able to connect with our guest, Josh Weil, who's joining us on the line, who's running for the 6th Congressional District in Florida. Josh, thank you so much for joining us. You're on the air with Ken Mejia Beal and Dwayne Kennedy. Thank you so much for running, first of all. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you.
Good. It's been a long week. First full week of the campaign. I've got one more week till my leave of absence kicks in. So, it's like 2 full-time jobs. But it's been great. Exhausting, but great.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're taking time off to focus on your campaign and rising to public service.
I work in public education. I've been in public schools since 2012. Math teacher, science teacher. The last few years, I've been in school leadership, instructional coaching, student services, MTSS. A lot of hats because every year we have fewer allocations. So a couple of years ago, 3 different people wore these hats. Now I wear 3 of them. But really, one of my main jobs is I support teachers and I track all of our data, keep an eye on all the kids across the school, how they're trending, performing, and what type of support or interventions what we need to do to help them when things aren't working.
I love your website already. I'm sorry, continue. I don't want to interrupt you because
thank you.
I love the idea, the message of I'm not running against someone. I'm running for you.
Love that.
That's exactly what I told people when I was running for my community. And so tell us a little bit about what was that flash moment for you? Where like this is a moment I need to step into the field of battle.
So a couple of years ago, I wanted to get involved. I got, like most progressives, tired of feeling like I was picking the better of 2 bad choices. I wanted candidates who supported the things that I knew we needed. Wanted candidates who supported Medicare for all. I wanted candidates who were progressive and wanted to fight for the people, social programs, things that would benefit the community. I wanted to see, $80 billion go towards improving schools and eliminating homelessness, not, sending bombs to a nuclear superpower so that way they could commit genocide. And I started a U.S. Senate campaign, built it up in my garage, got a lot of great young volunteers, organizers involved, and I spent 18 months traveling the state, visiting all 67 counties, working with people everywhere from Pensacola to Miami, and making a lot of great connections, getting out to voters, spending a lot of time talking to people. One of the big things I learned was that in our rural counties here in Florida, they're desperate to talk to someone, to have their questions answered. Here in Florida, the state Democratic Party has really abandoned, what we call red counties, in terms of supporting down ballot candidates, in terms of, investing in the communities and getting out and building a voter base. And so the Republican Party may be a lot of things, but they're not stupid. When we don't invest resources, they don't invest resources. And, I'd visit some of these places and, people would, be doing meet and greets in parks and things like that. And Republicans would come up to me and they'd be like, I tried calling my state rep, my state senator, my U.S. congressman, my city council. Like, no one returns my calls. No one will talk to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. And most of the stuff with politics doesn't make sense to them because they've been fed 24 hours of misinformation for the last 2 decades. And, they're desperate to, have things make sense, to, understand or to, why it isn't working, why they're not getting support, why their tax dollars don't benefit them, why they still have these problems, even though they keep voting for people who are saying that their lives will get better. And so when this race came around and we saw that Waltz was being nominated for or appointed National Security Advisor, I had all those connections and I started doing some pre-organizing, meeting with people and, discussing, what do you think? Do you think this is a race for me? And, I got a lot of great feedback. A lot of people who said that, this District 6 is one that hasn't even had a Democrat in it half the time for the last few cycles. When it does, it's very poorly funded, very poorly supported, and, needs someone who can get out and talk to Republicans, which, the bench doesn't go deep enough for us. We don't have enough Democrats who are good at that. We don't have enough candidates who know how to get out and, talk outside of our insular circles. I thought I had a couple months. DeSantis has done nothing but drag his feet every time there's been a need for a special election here in Florida. But during Thanksgiving week, Monday, 4:59 p.m., right before end of business, he put out a press release that, the ballots would finalize in a little under 11 days. And, if anyone wanted to run in this race, you had to collect thousands of petitions or raise $10,000 and God be with you. But we did it.
Congratulations.
We filed and got started the next day. Didn't even have enough time to use Act Blue, which definitely hurt some of the fundraising because people were skeptical of a Google form with a PayPal link on the back end. But,
you're right.
You got to collect your reporting. You got to collect your reporting information before you take their money. And really, we used a lot of blue sky, just reaching out to people, building it up, and it honestly, it never even felt stressful because there was just steady money. It was, $750 to, $1,200 a day coming in, and we were able to write the check and qualify for the ballot, and now running for U.S. Congress.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Have there been Democrats running at all against Waltz in the last several years?
In the last cycle, Bishop James Stockton ran. He had a campaign that over the course of the entire cycle, we've already matched what he raised in the last 2 weeks. So it was not there was not a lot of money. There was not a lot of support there. Unfortunately, he's a great man, but getting your message out ain't free. And, we want to have big events. We want to be able to draw people out so we can talk to them. And, you need to raise money to do that. The cycle before, no one ran. The cycle in 2022, we had three of our U.S. congressional seats in Florida went unopposed, and Republicans walked right in.
Wow.
And District 6 was one of them. Yeah, over the last 4 years, they haven't had there hasn't been a contest there. There hasn't been anyone building that community.
And are you getting support? Well, first of all, are there any other Democrats running in the primary, or is it just a runoff election?
I do have a primary, which has actually been a little bit of a blessing in disguise. We didn't know if anyone else was going to be running. I was in communication with our state party chair and head of campaigns, and I know that they didn't have anyone because about a day before we went and filed, I was getting texts from the state chair like, "Hey, you got the money and you're going to be on the ballot, right? Just wanted to make sure." And then turned out 2 other people came in, so people who are not, single parents living on a school teacher salary, who can just decide to write the check themselves if they want to. But there doesn't seem to be an organized campaign there. There doesn't seem to be much going on. We feel pretty confident that, what we're building is going to move pretty quickly and smoothly through this primary. But the great thing that I had forgotten about is until, when we activated our Act Blue earlier this week, we're setting the donation limits, and it tells me that, the maximum amount $6,600 for an individual contribution. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's $3,300 is the federal. And then I remembered, no, if you have a primary, you can collect $3,300. You have 2 elections, so you can collect $3,300 from someone for the primary and $3,300 for the general. So it's actually opened it up for us where, top donors are able to give a little bit more because we have this contest coming up January 28th. So it's been a little bit of it seemed like one extra obstacle, but it's been a little bit of a blessing in disguise.
Well, again, congratulations on running. Thank you for taking up the mantle and charging out of the field. I want to encourage folks to visit Josh Weil. That's WEIL.us. Again, Josh Weil, WEIL.us. For those of you living in Florida in the 6th Congressional, please pay attention to this race, but we need to pay attention to this nationwide because this is a path to having more power in Congress. And I know Congresswoman Delia Ramirez is listening, and would love to have somebody in there also fighting the battle. Josh, we'd love to have you on again soon. We're almost at the end of our show. Is there anything you want to make sure our audience knows before we let you go?
Yeah, please, support. This is a race that, the margin in the U.S. House is incredibly narrow. It's 220 to 215. We're going to have 3 to 4 special elections. If we sweep them all or get 3 out of 4, we actually take back the House. And special elections are where this can happen, especially in red districts. We saw it in Alabama in 2018. We saw it a couple of years later in Alaska. This is, there's lower voter turnout, which is not something Democrats usually like because we say when we vote, we win. But when you're in a district that has a, red advantage on registration, then, cuts it down and makes it an open ball game. So, I've been telling people, I'm not here to give, this guy who is just a vile piece of work. I'm not here to give him a fight.
Right.
We're here to win.
Yes.
We're going to win this district.
That is perfect.
Go get him, Josh.
I can't win all 4 of these, but I'm going to take care of my end on the other. And if we can support the other campaigns as well, we will take back the House. Hakeem Jeffries will be Speaker.
Excellent. Thank you so much again, Josh. We love that you're running joshweil.us. That's WEIL.us. Go get him. We'll talk to you again very soon. We want to help you get across the finish line.
Thanks,
and
Pat.
get this done. Absolutely. Take care.